Okay, so this lesson in careers and SAE and all of that stuff also leads us into our net worth and finance portion of the course. Really, this is all about record keeping and making sure that we're maintaining accurate records, especially when it comes to the SAE project. So the first thing we're going to talk about are assets. So what is an asset? I think of an asset as something that puts money in your pocket. So something that either makes money for you, or if you sell it, you can receive cash for it quickly. There's two types of assets. The first one that we're going to talk about is a current asset. And a current asset is anything that can quickly be converted into cash or that will be sold within 12 months. So examples of this would be cash on hand. So if you've got cash in your wallet, you have a current asset. Checking and savings accounts, stocks, you can very quickly sell your stocks. Bonds are the same way. And also cash in value of life insurance money, money that other people owe you, and current non-depreciable inventory. So current non-depreciable inventory is anything that's going to be used up or sold within a year, or that you are going to quickly use or cash out. So examples of this would be like feed for your animals, or medical supplies for your animals. Like if you keep HeartGuard in stock for your dogs, your heartworm preventative, that would be considered a non-depreciable inventory, especially if you're running a business. So non-current assets, these are any item that have a useful life of more than 1 year and that are used in the business. So for example, non-current, non-depreciable inventory. Example of this would be if you are running a farm and you have a tractor, your tractor is going to be non-current, non-depreciable inventory. Okay. Also land. So land, even though land does not depreciate, it actually appreciates. Land is still considered a non-current asset because it would take longer. It definitely has a useful life of more than 1 year. It would take longer to sell than, say, a little bit of feed for your dog or something. You could put dog food on Craigslist and you could probably sell it pretty quick. Alright, so how do we find our total assets? Well, it's pretty simple. You just take your current assets and then add your non-current assets to them. So let's take a second to practice this. So let's just say a business has all of this stuff, right? Land valued at $50,000, cash on hand of $1,000, truck and tractor valued at $10,000 total, checking account with $450 in it, savings account with $2,500 in it, and feed and hay that's valued at $600. So which of these would be current and which of them are non-current? Take a second and think about it, and then we'll move on. Alright, so your land valued at $50,000 and your truck and tractor valued at $10,000, those are going to be your non-current assets because those both have a useful life of more than 1 year. Whereas the cash on hand, the checking account, the savings account, and all the feed and hay that you have in stock, all of that would be considered current assets because it's either already cash or it can be quickly converted to cash. Alright, so what are your total current assets? What are your total non-current assets? And then what are your total assets with the two of those combined? So total current assets, we're going to take all of our current assets and add them together. So 1,000 plus 450 plus 2,500 plus 600 is $4,550. And then as far as total non-current, you've got land worth $50,000 and then your truck and tractor worth $10,000. You've got $60,000 in total non-current assets. So your total assets combined are going to be $64,550 once you add those two values together. Alright, so a liability. A liability is the opposite of an asset. So a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, whether that's a bill or a mortgage or some other type of loan. That's what a liability is. It's something that you owe money for, something that takes money out of your pocket. Alright, so current liabilities. So current liabilities are money that are due this year. Okay, so these are going to be accounts and notes payable. So a cell phone bill would be a current liability because you got to pay that within the next month or you don't have cell phone service anymore. Okay? So an example of this, which I don't think is a great example, but it's an example. So this year's part of the non-current liabilities. I'm going to use a mortgage, for example. So a mortgage is a home loan. And you're going to learn a lot more about that once you graduate high school and are looking at buying your own place. But a mortgage is a home loan. And your mortgage is typically 30 years long. I know that sounds crazy. You're like, oh my gosh. Yes, you will pay on your house for 30 years, unless you sell it before then, of course, in which case you would pay off the loan with the money that you make on the sale of the house and then go from there. But the portion of the mortgage that is due this year, so for easy numbers, let's just say it's a $100,000 mortgage. You have $100,000, and let's just say that $10,000 of it is due this year. So you have another 29 years to pay off the other 99,000. No, 90,000, I'm sorry. I forgot what numbers I used. I apologize. $100,000 mortgage, you owe $10,000 of it this year, the rest of it, $90,000 gets paid off in the future. So that $10,000, that would be your current liability of your mortgage. So your mortgage actually gets split into two categories, current and non-current liability. The current liability of our $100,000 mortgage is going to be that $10,000 is due this year. The non-current liability portion of that is actually going to be the $90,000. That's the remainder of the mortgage after you've paid this year's bit. So non-current liabilities are the opposite of current liabilities, okay? This is going to be anything that's due after this year is over. Okay, so anything that's not due this year is considered non-current. So that's going to be the part of the mortgage that's due after this year and anything else that you might have that's due after this year. Alright, so our total liability is very similar to total assets. It's going to be current liabilities plus non-current liabilities. So looking at this list of liabilities, take a second and try and determine what's current and what's non-current. Okay, so we've got a mortgage payment that's due this year of $2,000. We have a mortgage payment that's due after this year of $47,000. I want that mortgage. It's a low mortgage. You got a truck payment due this year that's $3,000. I apologize. You have an electric bill of $120. You got a water bill of $50, and you got a feed and hay bill of $600. So take a second, figure out which one of those are current, which one are non-current. Alright, so your mortgage payment that's due this year of $2,000, that's going to be a current liability, as is your truck payment that's due this year, your electric bill, your water bill, and your feed and hay bill. As a hint, if you see the word bill attached to something, that usually means it's a current liability. Okay? The mortgage payment that's due after this year of $47,000, that's your only non-current liability in this list. Alright, so total current liabilities, total non-current liabilities, and total liabilities. Let's figure all these out. So your total current liabilities are going to be all of your current liabilities added together. So $2,000 plus $3,000 plus $120 plus $50 plus $600 equals $5,770. Total non-current liabilities, that one's easy. We only had one, so we have $47,000. So total liabilities is going to be your $5,770 plus $47,000, and you're going to get a total liability number of $52,770. We're going to talk about inventory on the next video. Please let me know if you have any questions about assets and liabilities. I know it can kind of get a little bit tricky, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with it. This finance can be a little bit tedious and tricky to work through, so please let me know if you have any questions.